And we are
Hi!
live. Hello, guys. Hi,
Hey
everyone.
guys, hello.
Okay, so for formality's sake, hi, I'm Jiggy Alejandrino, a portrait and wedding photographer, and we are from the Philippines. And welcome to whatever it is that we're calling this. We will find out later. And of course, I'm with the ever. He will introduce himself because no words can explain the character of this person. O, tignan natin sino mauunang sumagot.
This person.
Oh, me. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you.
The reason why you cannot introduce me is because I am the weirdest person of all here. I am Raymond Isaac. I am a photographer in the Philippines who shoots almost anything, but most probably I do shoot a lot of beauty, advertising, and fashion. And most of the people I deal with are either celebrities or actresses or actors, for that matter. There,
Wow,
Nigel, it's your
fantastic.
turn.
Wow.
Bigatin,
Oh
no?
yeah, and I
Hi!
forgot. Okay, Nigel.
I'm Nigel. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm,
And I
I,
thought,
I'm just an advertising photographer and currently directing and working from home. So, for tonight's episode, actually, we've been brewing this for the past weeks, and this is the first night that we're formalizing this one. So for tonight, this is what can you expect from us. There is what we call the photo review, and I have
Wow.
a
Okay.
segment called Box of Questions, and Jiggie's gas chamber, and of course, we have to wait for this one. Okay, this is interesting. It's gonna be called Raymond's Horror Stories. Yun yan, okay na?
I have this strange feeling
All
that you're gonna
right.
make
So
fun of
It's gonna
this
be a fun night,
episode.
guys, and we're
it
formally
will.
calling
It should
this
be.
show The Nightcap.
The nightcap, yes.
Yay! Palakpakan naman dyan!
Very
Applause.
good. Okay. So we're officially launching the nightcap.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
I want to stress this first to our audience. If you have questions and you want them to appear on the broadcast, on my post above, there's a link there. Just click and accept so we can see your comments and we can post them on the broadcast itself. So
Oh,
welcome
okay.
everyone to the nightcap.
Wait. So the nightcap is gonna be what type of show? Will we show it weekly, bi-weekly, every month? As of now, we plan to show it when we don't know.
Well, here's the
What
interesting part. The
Huh?
nightcap is a show that we don't know when the next episode is.
Exactly. It's dependent. It's dependent on what?
The
the
schedule of Raymond.
sponsors?
The schedule of
No, not
Raymond.
no, not me. People might think it's my fault again. It's dependent on the sponsors who will support us.
Yeah!
So we should.
Yes. Okay. Sony.
Would you like to guess, who our main sponsors are? Or sponsors, I don't know. Plural. No, but the truth is, we're hoping that you guys will support us at this endeavor because
Yeah.
it's going to be different from most of the things that you've seen out there. We're three different points of views trying to merge together three different ideas that because people think that photography has only one teacher, whoever that teacher is going to be in front of you. But no, there are always different points of view, and that's the reason we're all together here is to present
Fantastic.
that not there is not only one answer, but there are several answers to one situation. There.
I'm so amazed. It was so serious coming out of Raymond's mouth. It was like,
For now.
okay,
I'm
now, all right,
so
now.
nervous.
You want to greet our
But
viewers, Jigs?
yeah, and guys, if you do enjoy this show, please leave a comment, share it. Let us know that what we're doing is something that we might consider doing again. Because if not, if we don't get the support, then why would we do it again?
Yeah, welcome to the
Right?
last
So
episode of the
yeah,
Nightcap.
welcome to the last episode of the Nightcap.
I don't think it will be the last.
For sure. Again, if you
For
want
sure.
your questions or comments to be posted
Let's do some shout outs
on
first
the
before
on
we.
the broadcast, just click the link above. I'll give you an
Oh,
example. Direct Paulo Ruiz is watching. Hello, Direct Pau. There.
And
There
then
he
who else is
is.
watching? Oh, Ian Santos, one of our very, very good friends. Greatly supports, well, my photography. Thank you very much, Ian. The distributor of Magmod in the Philippines. Thank you. And Pearl's watching already, I think.
Ah, the boss. Hi, Pearl.
Yeah.
Hi,
Pearl.
Pearl.
And the secret
You know,
boss is also watching, but we won't mention him. Baka magalit. But at least with Pearl, we can do a shout out and
Yeah.
say hi, Pearl. Don't
Lawrence
get mad
Lay
at us.
is
Don't get
watching.
mad at us after this episode.
Hello, Lawrence. Welcome to the nightcap.
Oh, but
Oh,
guys, this is
Jigs
not
is Stan.
officially. Night, let's just make sure, even though the three of us are endorsing the same product, we are actually all three of us are part of the Sony brand of influencers. Should we call it that? Let's not call it ambassadors. So we are all Sony influencers, but this is by no means sponsored by Sony.
Well, the next
So there,
episode is.
maybe the next episode will be. So we'll see. But this episode is not sponsored by Sony, so we can talk about other brands.
Jigs, Pearl has a message for you. Watch this. This is for you, Jigs. Pearl
Ah.
says,
Oh, patay tayo. See, I told you, she's watching. All right.
okay, let's move to the first segment. It's gonna be called the photo review. Okay, so these are the
dun,
photos
dun,
I believe.
dun.
Yan, wala tayong ano eh. Okay, let me play this na lang. This one. All right, photo review. Jigs, explain
All right.
this segment.
Okay, obviously it's a photo review. I'm sure everyone's familiar with because everyone's been doing it that now, no? But Raymond and I actually started this about 6 months ago live in one of the workshops that we did, and we totally enjoyed listening to each other's sentiments with regards because one person doing one photo review or one person from the same genre doing a photo review gives you more or less the same outlook or the same insights. That's why we put together this segment, the photo review, so you could have one who's a fashion photographer, you have a wedding photographer, and you have an advertising photographer just giving their personal sentiments with regards to this. Maybe in the next episode, we will actually invite a non-photographer. So that non-photographer can talk about the non-technical stuff of what he or she sees with the photograph. Correct? Which we can invite my wife now if she wants, oh. Patay. All
Okay,
right,
Jigs,
so
let's start this one.
but before that, what we're gonna do with this photo review is that I will have about a minute and a half to talk about the picture, which we haven't seen. Raymond and I haven't seen. Nigel has because he prepared the slides. I will have a minute and a half to give my opinion. Raymond will have a minute and a half to give his opinion. So with Nigel, and then we will all discuss whatever it is that we said. Then we move on to the next segment. Then we do another photo review after that segment. All right? Okay.
Okay,
Nice.
game.
See how this,
First
let's see how this
photo.
goes.
Jiggy, you have 90 seconds to tell your comment about this photograph.
All right. Oh. I thought we were going to have ugly photos, but this is actually a decent photo for me. But immediately, there are some things that would stand out. Number one, I think, well, I can't wait. I need to look closer. All right. It's a tad bit overexposed when it comes to highlights. Since this image overall is a passing image already for me, I will nitpick it for purposes of taking it to that next level. Okay, so I feel that the highlights are a tad bit too much. You could have dialed it down a bit. The pose, I have some problems with it because it's too flat, meaning she's too profiled towards the camera, but her face is not. She could have opened her right shoulder a bit more so that the focus should not be on her arms. Which brings me now next to the way it
30
was lit.
seconds.
I would have focused the light a bit more on her face and go-bowed the rest of the body and just made that fall off. And lastly, I think the background was photoshopped. It would have been better if you just put an extra light there that gave a very nice halo to make it look realistic. But overall, it's a good image. The head should have been tilted slightly away from camera also because it's tilted towards her left side, so
2.
it doesn't give that strength that you want from that image. And that's it.
Time's up, time's up, time's
that
up.
that was difficult. And Raymond now and you guys have a minute and a half to figure out what you're going to say. That was hard, huh?
Time's up, my
exact-
friend. Time's up, my
That
friend.
was hard. All right, okay.
Okay, it's
That's
gonna be
the
Raymond's turn. Rames, are you ready? This is your
I'm
time.
ready. I'm ready anytime. You know me. I talk a lot.
Time
All
starts
right. You know
now.
what? Yeah, you can start. I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm glad that Jiggy went first because he already said basic things that I wanted to talk about. So let's go first to highlights. Jiggy doesn't like the highlight, but on the fashion and beauty, I love the a little bit overexposed because it just gives that ethereal mood that she's creating coming out of the shadow. She's mysterious and then she's pale and she's ghostly. I love that mood. Jiggy might be more realist, but I am more a fantasy type of person, so it works for me. I agree with him, however, that the body configuration is a bit disturbing sa akin because you could have made that light fall off a bit out of the shoulder, so the attention is all on the face or on the way the neck and the chin is positioned. I agree with that. Now I'm distracted with no offense to the model, but the arms and the and the wrist and the hands that are coming out right there. Uh, I don't mind if it's Photoshop or real, the light in the background, but it does help push the image forward. I love that whoever made this idea wants to highlight the subject first. So I always deal not with technicality, but I am more an emotional person. So for me, I still like it. I'm a bit distracted by the arm. I would have photoshopped the arm even more because I'm into that fantasy. So there, I say I like it. And I won a second to spare. Yay!
Sakto. Na
Very
practice,
good. Very
Jigs.
good.
Na
Yeah,
practice.
and he had a minute and a half to think about it. Now you have
Actually.
3 minutes to think about it. And no, and the worst thing about it is that Nigel already saw this image because he was the one that prepared the slides.
So
Hoy,
shouldn't he be the first one to speak?
Yeah, he should
actually,
have been the first one to speak, right?
you
But
know,
Okay,
anyway,
the
this.
next
fine.
review.
It was a good
Hey,
challenge.
wait.
Next review. The next review. The next review.
Okay, Nige, go.
Speaking and directing at the same time is twice as hard as you are doing right there. Okay, I'm just gonna be quick. Okay, let me start my time. I'm
Go.
very particular
Timer
with the
now.
color about this one. Okay, maybe it's on the post processing part, but the skin tones are not consistent. I mean, I can see reddish parts on the shadows and yellowish parts on the mids and highs. Probably the photographer, in which I don't know, but hi, Mr. Reginald De Gia. Probably he edited this on 8-bit. I'm not sure if it's raw, but if it's raw, if you're watching Mr. Degia, please enlighten me. If it's raw, I think you can control the colors of your highlights and your shadows. So when you do portraits like this, or when you do commercial work and you have to submit it to a client, and you're shooting a person, one of the most important things that you should consider is the skin tones and the consistency of them. So not just you have to look on the posing and the lighting, you also have to look at the final output of it. So that's it.
All right.
Wow. And he has
Wow, that's
20,
fast. Okay, that
20
gives us more
seconds.
time. Okay, Mr. Isaac, can I ask you a question? You were
Okay,
talking about the highlights. You were talking
now
about
I'm
the
scared.
highlights, no?
Now
Let's
I'm scared.
differentiate first that we're talking about the highlights, which is the brightest part of the image, not the properly exposed part of her face, which is her true tone.
Correct.
Okay, so if that's going to be the case, the way I see it, I don't know if I'm just seeing it because the monitor's a bit too far. It's I don't see the difference between the true tone and the highlights.
Okay.
So if we were to do this, or if I were to do this, and let's talk about the highlights, which I believe that's why I said, sorry, that was my mistake. I didn't really mean the highlights, but rather the true tone. The exposure was a bit off because he made the entire
Oh,
face a highlight. In other
well,
words,
yeah.
if you want to put a highlight, then you put another light from the same general direction of that main light and make it
Correct.
about a stop stronger to be able to create that rim on her body.
That rim on her
Right?
body. Correct.
So yeah, so
Correct.
it's good that you pointed it out because I wasn't able to explain myself because I got stressed with 1 minute and a half, right?
It's okay.
And
I'm glad you were the first one.
Nige, you're correct about Nige. I really believe that the arms. I wanted to focus on that a bit more. It feels weird, I don't. I just noticed it now while I was looking at the image while you guys were talking. But the arms look as if it's distorted. The hands look smaller all of a
Yes.
sudden, right? She looked like a T-Rex in a way.
Correct.
her hands became smaller.
Probably Jigs, he used a shorter focal length.
Yes, he might have
Distortion.
probably used a 35 here and distorted the arms. That's why it looks big. Because a 50
Correct.
millimeter will not give this, definitely. This type
Or
of
an
effect,
85,
right?
or an 85 for
Or an
that matter.
85 or a 135 will not give that type of distortion.
Correct.
Anything below that, a 35 below would have given this, but it cannot be less than 24 because if it's less than 24, then we would have seen the distortion a bit more. Now, you're correct about that one, Nigel, with regards to the shoulder, to the arms. I see some blotching. Because if this was shot properly with one light, you would have seen one straight line on the arms, right? You wouldn't have seen that blotching in her arms. It's not the fall off of the shadow, right?
So which
Correct me if
means,
I'm wrong.
correct me if I'm wrong. The light, the original picture is a bit brighter, and it was manipulated to go darker.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Possibly. That's the reason on why the background is like that also. The background was flat.
Mm.
That's why he dodged and burned the background in order to make the part behind her brighter and give that effect that you put in another light source behind, just to
Back,
separate.
yeah, backward.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
I have questions for you both. Okay, first
Go.
one is Jiggy. Jigs, as I can see the photo right now, I can see some hot spots. Do you think it was taken from straight from the camera or from post processing?
Where do you see the hot spots? I'm sorry, I don't see it, but where do you see the hot
It's
spots?
on the forehead.
Oh,
Uh,
that one.
What do you think?
You know-
I mean, I don't know what the photographer did. I'm just
Can
curious
you
about it.
zoom into? Is it possible to zoom into the image so that we can see? But because, here's something that's very difficult to see, especially with a small image. But a lot of people mistake contrast with the quality of light.
Correct.
Obviously, right now it is a high contrast image, but we don't. But the fall off, it's a big light source.
For sure.
Yeah, with a fall off, it's a big light source. So that means he might have not put the secondary baffle inside the octobank or whatever modifier he was using. That's why there was a hot spot, making it, because one thing that well, we have to explain that, right, Raymond? When you use a modifier where the real light is, that is still gonna be the most intense light.
Intense part
Right?
of the
That's
follow.
why we have a tendency to feather the light in order for us to remove the hotspot, correct?
Correct.
So this one was a direct light towards the subject. He probably centered the light on the subject. That's why you're getting the hotspots, or it could have been a problem with makeup. As simple as that.
Pwede rin.
Could have just been a problem with makeup. And we said so much, but then it might have just really been a problem with makeup.
Yeah, and Rames,
Yeah.
this is my question naman for you. This is your expertise. I mean, portraiture was one of your expertise. What is the best or ideal focal length if you're gonna shoot this kinds of profile? And how
Well,
would you pose
I-
this? If you were the photographer, how would you pose the model?
Well, the idea of what he was doing is he was on the right track. So if I'm going to shoot a portrait beauty or something like this, the first thing I would do is actually tama si Jiggy. I would control my light properly first, because when you have a perfect image, my take on this, now that I've seen it longer, my take on an image like this could have been done on the shot itself. You don't need
Yeah.
there was no need to go through Photoshop or
Yeah.
cleanups or anything like that. Number one. Number two, uh, I love feathering my light, from dark to light or from light to dark. And this one, halatang there was Photoshop that controlled. Jiggy was right when he pointed it out. It looked like it was the exposure was much bigger. The pose is correct for me because I love the chin position. I love that the triangular light.
What do you call
below
that
the
light?
eye.
What do you call that light?
Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
Is it Rembrandt? No, I was actually
No,
thinking about
Rembrandt.
it. Is it Rembrandt?
Lighting. No, Rembrandt lighting is the type of light that falls from one side, from dark from
Yeah,
light to
that gives a
shadow.
triangle, di ba?
Yeah, the
which
triangle
is
there
that one.
is, which is that one, which is a perfect portrait, a personality in paintings, in illustrations, in photographs. Kaya I'm saying, if the person is not, like us, we've earned years in the business of doing like this. and he does something like this, maybe the person knew what he was doing, but it just needs a little bit more uh,
Technique.
practice,
Technique.
technique,
Yeah.
because it's there. I'm just distracted also that the fact that the when you put something in the photograph, you have to give me what do I want to see first. I always tell people what is the purpose of the photo, what do you want us to look at first. Right now, the first thing I look at, which is one of the faults that I found, is that I'm seeing the right angle formation of the elbow and the
Mm.
arm. So it doesn't make me look at the face first. The face is beautiful. I find it such a waste that there is a distraction of a right angle there. Normally, if I were to shoot something like this, I would create a gobo or a shadow that would fall on the arm so that it doesn't distract the main
Yes.
focal point of the photograph, which is the face. I would do that, Nigel. Maybe I
What's
would just
wrong? Raymond? What's wrong with right angles?
right angles on a soft portrait like this. If you cover the picture, if you cover the picture above the elbow, the woman is very soft. It's it has a
So,
very soft mystery. So
Raymond, why
when
don't
you
you demo it?
I can
Okay,
stand,
ladies and
you
gentlemen,
want
Mr. Raymond
you want me
Isaac.
wait, we can
there.
see it.
Hey,
We can see it.
we can see you.
I knew this was a trap. I shouldn't have said yes before trap. I swear. Ah. Okay, going
No,
back.
but
No, but
right angles who are good for masculine poses.
correct. So
Okay.
now the contradiction is you can use the right angle if the woman, for example, is exuding a androgynous type of pose.
Or
But she's
CEO
not
siya.
but she's not androgynous here. She's beautiful, she's soft, she's looking far away. It's a romantic, it's a romantic gaze. Yes, you were saying.
What's androgynous?
Androgynous when you don't know whether it's a guy or a girl.
Okay. All
Do I
right.
read that? And I had to answer this question, I swear. Anyway, I swear, Direk, can we cut this episode now? I'm just kidding. Anyway, when you remove the angle, when
I
you
just
remove
wanted
the
to make
angle,
sure. See, someone's getting mad at me backstage for asking you that question, Raymond.
ac- actually, she should get mad at me for answering that stupid question in the very beginning. So I should be at fault here.
Okay,
Stop it.
hold up,
Okay.
guys.
All right. All
We
right.
spent too
So let's
much
move
time
on.
on this photograph. We have to
Let's
move
move
on
on.
on
Let's
the
move on.
on the next segment. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the word for tonight is what's that, Jigs? Androgynous?
Androgynous.
Presented by
Yeah,
Mr. Raymond Isaac.
the word for the word for the night is punyeta kayo. So going forward,
All
Okay,
right, so
Nige, how long did we last until that came out?
what? Sorry.
How
uh,
long did we last until that one came out? 28
I
minutes
knew
before that came out. Okay, very
I
good.
knew you were gonna count all the bad things I'm gonna say. I swear, I swear. Where's my manager?
All right, so
Okay,
next,
let's
next,
move
next.
on to this interesting segment. If
Yes.
you notice, the nightcap has the own segments of the host. I have my segment, Raymond has a segment, Jiggy has a segment, and my segment for the night is gonna be called the Box of Questions. Yeah,
Hi,
so I
do
have
we
it
have
here,
giveaway?
ladies and gentlemen. I have.
Oh,
Can you
raffle
hear it?
time, raffle time.
Are we gonna
Okay.
give something away?
Sorry.
Are we gonna give something away?
Let's wait for our sponsors. Actually, I'm waiting for them for a PM.
I got a PM.
Hey,
What do
okay.
am I
Ikaw.
fired already? I just want to know, am I fired? Somebody just tell me if I'm fired. You
All
guys
right.
set me up, I
All
swear.
right. I'm
Go.
gonna make Buna this first question right here. Okay.
I like
So
it. You sound like an assumption.
what
You
happens for
sound like an
box of questions
assumptionista.
is all of us will answer the
All right.
questions. Okay, and the first question, if I may switch this one.
All
Okay,
right.
the first question. Hold on. Is are you ready, guys?
No.
Are you ready?
I don't want to answer anything anymore. I might get fired
You wanna
tomorrow.
see? Wanna see? Wanna see? Wanna see? Okay. All right. What's the last photography equipment you bought before the quarantine?
Oh no.
Let's
My
start.
wife is
Let's
here.
start.
I can't answer
Let's
that.
start with Jiggy. Let's start with Jiggy.
Gigi,
Uh,
What's the? Hold on. I'll put it in. Hold on.
wait,
Why? Are you...
but I bought something during the quarantine.
No. This
during
is
or
before.
Before the
before?
quarantine.
Before the quarantine started. There. There's the question here.
Hmm.
I actually don't remember the last thing I bought.
Because so many.
No, because I haven't really been buying stuff because Sony.
Oh,
Oh.
No,
you're
Ah.
I
such a
haven't.
liar, liar,
Ah.
liar,
No, see,
liar,
now
pants
I'm
on
trying.
fire.
I'm actually trying to remember the last thing I bought. Do you remember the last thing I bought?
Hey,
See?
Coco doesn't know all of the things.
The
No,
one you secretly buy. The one that Coco doesn't know that you're hiding from her.
Yung sinabi mong padala.
Yes,
Sorry, I had to speak in Tagalog.
you were.
no, see, I'm trying to look around the studio now to see the last thing I bought. I honestly, I haven't purchased anything in a long time.
Weh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the sponsors.
I really don't
I
believe it.
Hey,
appreciate everything that you've
Jiggy.
done for
I have a
me.
comment for you.
Yes.
I
No,
can
I can't.
screen cap our convo to remind you.
Go, please. I honestly don't remember the last thing I bought because I really haven't. That's why, Raymond, you go first.
Raymond,
Uh,
what's yours?
Shucks, can you
I
please
know.
guys tell me?
Oh no, I remember. I remember. One of my assistants broke my lens during one of the before a shoot, and I was so scared. I had to buy a 70 to 200 lens.
2.8?
You bought?
Yeah, from I think from Sony. I bought it from Sony because I was so nervous. We had a video and a still shot, so I needed that lens specifically. Yeah, I got so pissed. I was so angry. That's why I needed to buy something like that. And to go with that, the last photography thing that I bought was a sexy underwear. Is that considered? Is that considered photography
Is
equipment?
that the
I
one you
had to
showed
use it for.
earlier before we went live?
No, no, that was the one I was wearing. No, that's not the one. That was not the one.
Jiggy, someone wants to remind you.
Go. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, right. You're correct. Thank you very much. Right before quarantine started, I decided to upgrade one of my lights. I got a Profoto B2. Yeah, see, even Coco remember. No, even after that was the Profoto TTL-S trigger for Sony. So that was the last thing. That was I actually got that in my very last prenup that I shot for a Sony ambassador from Hawaii. He went here to be with his fiance, and we did a prenup for him. Now he's stuck in Manila. Also, he's actually the one of the founders of a group called Sony Alpha Talk or something like that in Facebook. And
Maybe we can
he
bring him
brought
on the next
he
episode.
brought the TTL-S trigger home, and I used that specific light to shoot his prenup.
Maybe we
Yeah,
can invite
you're right.
him
You're right.
on
Thank
the
you.
next
Thank you very much
episode.
for reminding me.
Okay.
Nice, ikaw.
The
What
last
did you buy?
thing I bought was actually at Photo World. I bought video transmitters.
From Hollyland?
Holyland, yes. I
Wow.
bought
Wait.
I bought 400S and 300, and I love it.
Fun.
I use it for work.
I'll have one
Wait,
soon.
I want that, guys. I want that. I need it.
Well, I'll lend you one. I'll lend you.
Uh,
Or
Holyland, if you're listening right now, please send over
yes.
whatever that video is.
So
Yeah.
to everyone
Well,
watching, we're accepting sponsors. Yeah.
shout out to Ikatlo Korea. Maybe you'd want to feature some of his products in the succeeding shows.
Oh,
You know, Nige, I was actually scared for this segment of yours because I thought you were going to ask one of those really controversial questions. And I was so prepared to answer
the,
that,
the
but
night's not
I did
over yet.
not expect this question. I did
The
not.
night's not over.
The
Yeah,
night's not
This,
over.
we're just
it's
How
sorry,
many
just
we're just
questions are we
starting,
doing?
guys. Okay, are
Is
you
it just
ready for
one?
the next question?
Oh, we have one more.
We
I
have
thought it was
three.
just one question.
Three.
Oh, we
This
have
is my
three.
segment.
Okay, okay.
Excuse me. This is my
Okay,
time.
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. Are you ready for the next question, ladies and gentlemen?
Can't believe we
I'm kind of,
forgot that.
I'm kind of scared.
Ito just evidence that I'm making bunot There you
I
there.
don't care. You know, sometimes you can cheat. You can put the same questions in 5 different papers. It's the same thing.
Okay.
You- I know you're gonna set me up with something.
Are you ready, people? Okay, this is the question. Okay. Shit. Why did I write this?
You said something like,
You know that you just did the Raymond, right?
yeah, you did a Raymond. Thank
Okay.
God, I'm not the only one. Okay,
Okay, listen up, you two. If you have to choose just one orientation for the rest of your photography life,
oh, I thought it was sexual
portrait or
orientation.
landscape? Raymond,
No
again,
brainer.
if you have to choose one orientation for the rest of your photography life,
No
portrait or
brainer.
landscape?
No brainer. I'm a landscape person. I'm horizontal orientation because I studied film. Why do I want it? Because if I don't like the others, I can crop it on a portrait. At the end of the day, it's the perfect orientation for me. I thank you.
But Raymond, you're a portrait
Oh,
photographer.
so, so, oh. I'd like to thank the judges for the beautiful question, and I'd like to thank everybody who gave me the opportunity to answer the question. Thank you. Oh, your turn. Your turn.
Jiggy.
Oh, ako, with me, I'd rather shoot in portrait. Because if I shoot in portrait, I can take two shots and combine them together. It's going to be a higher resolution horizontal photo.
But I'm a
No, but
perfect photographer.
with all seriousness, I have a tendency to shoot more portrait rather than horizontal. Though a lot of my photos that I feature are shot horizontally, I have an innate love with portraits on a horizontal format, a vertical format. So yeah, I think I would shoot vertical. That's why Sony, please
Uh,
make a screen that goes vertical because my back is killing me every time I'm shooting vertical and I can't flip my screen this way. Like the A989, right? Nice, remember the
sacrilegious.
89?
Sacrilegious. Okay,
Yeah.
another
Sacrilegious.
word of the night, Jiggy. The second word for the night is
Sac-
called sacrilegious.
sacrilegious.
I think we
You
should,
don't eat.
Raymond, you should have a segment called Word of the Night.
I should.
What is it right?
Sacrilegious.
Yeah, why did I say that? I'm dead. All right. Sorry, guys. Well, no, it's
So,
coming. Wait. It might
what?
come with what we're going to talk about later.
You can never can tell. What? What will come later?
What are
I'm
we talking
That
about,
confused.
type,
Jigs?
that type of screen might come with some conversation we have later.
What's that? I didn't know
Okay,
that.
I,
Huh?
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 I don't
I
know.
don't
We'll
want.
find out.
I
So
don't want.
people can wait for it. Guys, wait for it. Trust me. Nigel will do something later that might get him fired.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. You're right. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this.
Guys,
Guy,
I'm also part of the show. Okay.
I can't wait for this. Guys, if you're listening and you think you're enjoying because of all this banter that's happening, please support us. Send us money right now. And you can contact me directly at my Facebook account. Don't worry about that. I promise I will not share it with them.
or,
Thank
or
you.
or we can just put our bank accounts here.
All right.
Okay, I
Okay.
have to answer this. I want to be fair. I
You
have
have
to
to answer.
answer this. Okay, if I'm going to choose one orientation, sorry, Jigs, landscape.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the environment for me.
No, I understand. I understand also. But if I were given a choice, lately, for some reason, if I check all my photos, like Coco and I were just checking our Paris photos, about 70% of the pictures that we chose were vertical. So I don't know. I don't understand why. I guess we just love it when you print it in an album that looks like a magazine. It's vertical,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't have a flat lay album and you shoot horizontal and it cuts in the middle, so it's not nice for print. So yeah. Anyway, all right. Next question.
All right. We still have one more.
One lang. Can we just do this forever? So at least I don't have to.
Now you like this segment, huh?
No,
No,
I'm waiting for your horror stories.
Yes, I'm waiting for the horror stories.
People might think I'm,
Oh,
Wait,
say
yeah.
hello to Jerome Ascano. He's watching also. Jerome.
No,
And Gabby
I know.
Candero is watching. I saw
Gabby's
Gabby.
watching too.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Gabby's watching. Yep. Again, guys, if you have questions, if you want to say hi, that you want to be part of the broadcast, just on my post above, just click accept on that particular link. Because to be honest, Facebook is really private on these things, so you have to
that's
allow
why
us.
people aren't
What? You can do
that's why
this. You can,
people aren't commenting as much. It's only a few that actually click that. Okay, I get it.
Yes. Okay. Anyway.
Wait, Nige,
Yep.
before anything, with all our effort when it comes to lighting, I have a comment here that said that Raymond's lighting is the best
Oh, shit.
when it comes to this video feed.
Here you go. Ayan, no? Taob yung mga ilaw natin kay Raymond, ah.
see, overexposed lighting works for the people that I talk to. My minions, thank you. Thank you, my minions. Come to me.
All right, next question, Nige.
Okay, are you ready? Oh, mahaba-haba. Okay. What am I doing a while ago? I wrote these questions. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. In a doomsday scenario, okay? What photography equipment you own
What?
can you swap for the last bag of food and why?
What photography equipment do
You
I
own.
own?
Can you swap? I mean,
So who answers first?
The one I
Jack
can
and Point.
get rid
Who
of?
answers first?
Here, my
Answer.
FOBA.
Oh,
and
yeah,
why?
answer
Go
really.
Jigs.
Go.
Because to make it more relatable. My Mamiya 645 DF with a DM22 digital back. Why? Because I love Sony.
Oh,
Oh.
the question was, in a doomsday scenario, what photographic equipment you own can you swap for a bag of food and why? Which means if you're gonna swap something, it's of importance. That's why food survival. So
No, but
important
see,
pala.
but Nigel didn't make the question clear enough. Because
Okay, Eddie,
what
let's
if, like
rephrase
you,
it.
Raymond,
Let's rephrase
what
it.
if, like you, Raymond, you have so much cameras, lenses, and
Let's
when you
rephrase
give
it.
away one camera, it's something that won't that distracted me so much.
Oh, yeah, Jigs. Okay, I changed it
That's the
already for
point.
you.
What's the question?
Ayan.
The-
According
I
to
can't see
Raymond.
it.
read it.
No, but that's so ano naman.
No,
I would
answer it.
rather ask questions like that's so normal because obviously for you to be able to eat, swap everything. Doomsday, what are you gonna do? Take a picture?
Oh,
Rames, ayaw lang
Right.
sumagot talaga. Ayaw lang sumagot. Because he'll get in trouble.
Nigel, answer.
I'll go Nigel. I'll go Raymond.
Nigel first, but
What important
I can think
photography
that-
equipment you own can you swap for the last bag of lights? Strobe lights.
No.
wow.
Why?
Kasi may fashion shoot sa Apocalypse, gano'n?
So are you gonna say, oh, because the camera is good enough, you don't need light? Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, right.
No, because you can always work on available light.
But it's doomsday, so it's gloomy, so there's no available light.
Ano ba? Doomsday? End of
When
the
you
world
say
na,
doomsday,
no? Bako.
it's cloudy.
Oo.
This question makes no sense at all.
Malay mo, how can it be cloudy if the sun's gonna land on you?
I thought,
Hindi siya cloudy, maliwanag siya masyado.
Hindi siya cloudy kasi kapag maglaland yung sun, palapit na ng palapit sa'yo. So, mas overexposed
Correct.
tayo.
So you need like, gobos in between, right? Para at least hindi maliwanag yan. Oh.
I didn't say
go,
modifiers, I said lights.
Go.
Correct.
Maybe the next segment, Nige, it could be Nigel's box of questions, but questions from the viewers.
Pwede.
Yeah, why not? So we need the
Right?
viewers to support us. Mga kaibigan, please support us. We need the next episode to come in. Okay? There.
Okay,
So,
go.
next
Raymond.
segment. Oh, me, do I have to answer this? Because
Of
I'm going to
course.
win this segment for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is, what would you exchange for food in a doomsday or apocalypse scenario? No brainer. The first thing I will barter is my tripod. Why my tripod? That tripod can be a weapon. If the zombies are coming, I will hit it. If I need shelter, I will use it as a pole so that I can.
Wait, then why would you
myself
give it away?
Yeah, well, why would you swap?
Barter. That means I will have to survive. I have more than one tripod, so I can give one tripod
Oh,
away.
wait.
I am rich.
When you say
I am
when
rich.
you say barter, that means you're gonna give it away. You're gonna trade it
Hey,
for
Jigs,
food.
Jigs, you didn't hear him.
Exactly.
I
It says
have
there.
many tripods according to him.
Mayaman
What?
ako, marami akong tripod.
Oh,
Including the
okay.
one that
Oh, sige,
they
but
gave
then
you,
I will
Rames,
give
that
you-
you don't use.
With that, Raymond, I will give you my tripod, the one that I just mentioned in my previous video.
Okay,
That's
so-
the part. Yun ang
So,
pwede
but
pang
so
barter.
I don't mind. Bakal pa rin yan. At the end of the day, I can melt it. I can make so many things. In fact, if I have 4 tripods, I can make a tent and then go under and create shelter. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's just, admit this. I am the best person to answer any questions right here. I've been trained by
Let's
the
move
best.
on. Let's
Yes.
move on. Let's move
Okay,
on.
so that's it, guys. The 3 questions. I hope you enjoyed that Koala segment called Box of Questions. I like Jiggie's idea. Maybe perhaps on the next episode, prepare questions for us. If we're gonna have again the next
and
episode.
make it a bit more controversial and juicy. I was hoping somebody would ask questions like, "Who was your best subject?" or "How did you feel when you were shooting with the other brand?"
Jigs, you want to ask you want me to ask you a question, Jigs?
Oh, no more. Let's move on.
I mean, I
Let's
can
move on.
prepare a question for you, Jigs.
No, it's okay. Let's move on.
Okay,
move on, let's
so
move on.
that's for my segment, ladies and gentlemen. Box of questions. We move on to the next photograph that we are going to review.
Photo view.
Okay. This is Raymond. Since kanina ikaw ang nag-prepare, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat now.
No. You have
Ready,
to go
Raymond?
first.
You have a minute and 30. Next photograph.
Oh no! Why do I have
Time
to do
starts
this?
now.
Okay. You know what? I love the concept of the photograph, but the thing that bothers me right now is that I see the background first more than the subject. So I will go with the fact that I am distracted with the background. You could have lowered the saturation or the intensity of the exposure at the back so that I can see the model first. Now, the idea of the reflection on the water or whatever that is could have been better if the image was lit a little bit brighter, or if you're in Photoshop or in your Lightroom, you could have pushed it just a little bit. Anyway, naman, everybody's doing Photoshop, everybody's doing editing, post editing after. I find it unforgiving if the concept is good and then you blotch something in editing. I don't believe in editing too much, which means if I were Jiggy, I would lit the subject even more, pass on the blame to somebody else, so that it will get more attention rather than the background getting more attention. And that would, ladies and gentlemen, is 20 seconds left, and I'm still,
Good
since I have
job.
more. I just don't like the idea that she's holding her crutch. It looks like, oh my God, I'll look like I'm going to get wee. There are certain things you have
Look
to
at
take
all
care.
your comments and read all my notes on the image. Number 1, she looks like she wants to pee.
Yeah, it's true. I like.
Sorry.
You're taking my time, eh. This is so
You're
unfair.
done. You were done. Sorry.
No, you complain. Can I complain to the management? Seryoso ba to? Can I complain to the management? Is there a management here? Direct. Yeah, pagsabihan natin yung artista natin, ha? May timer to. Go! Who's
Okay,
next?
it's gonna be my turn. To be fair, all right. For me, honestly, I'm gonna ask about the concept. I mean, it's a photograph, yes, but what's the concept? Is this a pre-debut thing, or why is she wearing gown on a lake or a river, and she's about to, I don't know, and she looks up? So that's what I mean. I don't know what's the purpose of photographer. What's the purpose of the photographer when he took this photograph? But for our audience, you should be clear about your message. Yes, you have all the technical know-how, but photography is communication. It's not just show your picture and then that's it. You communicate to your audience. So that's it. It's just know your purpose and then you have to communicate properly. That's it.
Wow, you guys finished it in 1 minute.
I
Okay.
know. We cheated. We reviewed this without you knowing.
Yes,
so that
kanina.
I know. Here I am trying to figure out how the image looks like because, well, anyway. So,
Okay, Jiggy,
all right.
ready?
Ready?
Timer
Go.
starts now.
Okay, Mr. Laxamana, I think you were wrong when you said about technical know-how of the photographer because with this image, I think that is what's lacking. I think the technical knowledge is the one that's lacking in this image. Why? Well, no, before that, I agree. Well, I wrote it down when Raymond was saying it. She looks like she wants to pee. Number one. Number two, correct. That the brightest point of the image should never be it should always be the subject. It should never be the background. So you control your highlights. That is why I wanted to say, Nige, that this image shows the lack of the technical knowledge when it comes to that. Because Raymond tapped on it earlier, that if he popped the light and underexposed and controlled his highlights, then the subject would have been the brightest part of the image. And by doing that, he would have been able to bring out the reflection there underneath in the water. Because right now, the reflection does not serve anything because it's not seen. The only way you're going to have reflection seen is when the image is brighter than that of the subject that it's reflecting from. But right now, since the light is the same from, it's just lit, I don't know, maybe it was lit with a flash. It probably could have been lit by a flash, but he should have controlled his ambient light a bit more. And that's 1.5 minutes. Kulang.
Talagang ano? Oh,
What
wait,
I'm just telling kanina, Jigs, is
Yes.
it's not the technical know-how of this particular photograph.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
okay.
in general, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you're the brightest person to know all the technicals, but if you don't know how
that's
to
you.
communicate, then that's another
No,
thing.
that's you. You're the technical guy. No, but what I'm saying with this one, in terms of
I will always say Nigel is my guru. Look,
yeah,
I have
Nigel
a
is our
question.
guru.
I have a question. Our target market or the people that we're talking to in this program are basically English speaking by nature because people tend to get misconstrued by some of our criticism. Or we can't talk in Taglish and go back and forth. I mean, I'm just asking in
No,
general.
go by all means. I do believe we're catering to Filipinos too. So if you want to speak in Taglish, by all means, speak in Taglish.
There's some things that sometimes can't be explained or in English totally, and it loses its context. So
Of course.
sometimes, katulad nito, like this one, this is like it could have been this, it could have been, but sometimes, but I lost my thought already. Sorry about that. But I was about to say, I agree with Jiggy. You see, the reflection on the water with the background is perfect, but that's not my subject. My subject has no reflection on the water, so it just destroys my whole concept right there and then. Sayang. Right? Sayang.
It could have been ano. Well,
In a beautiful.
no, here's my question. Like, guys, here's my question. You're gonna say it's sayang, or is it that's why what Nigel said was actually good. It's the realization of your whole vision and concept, or what is the point, right, Nigel? That's what you were referring to,
You're trying
correct?
to
What is
communicate.
the point of
Yes.
the
What are you
photograph?
trying to say?
What are you trying to say? Because now it's been a fad, especially I think this came from the industry in which I'm in, there's a tendency for them to just overdress for a particular scene just for the heck of dressing without thinking of the overall image. Because when you really look at let's say a shoot, like when Raymond would do a shoot or when Nigel would do a shoot, the stylist, the photographer, everyone will get together to be able to talk and relay the message of what they want to do. So the clothes will have to match the couple. The couple and clothes will have to match the location. The photographer's light should match the location, clothes, and couple.
Correct.
Right? So those are four things that you have to consider, and not just put a gown, go to water, shoot. It's not that simple. Though it's sometimes you could get some good images. Yes, it's nice to start and play around with those. But when you start trying to refine your craft and learning how to work with people who understand that concept, that's when you elevate, I believe, your photos to another level, the level of, let's say, Raymond's photos or something.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Or no, but you guys, if you see Nigel's photos also, you'll be so surprised. It's fantastic.
I love
But he
Nigel.
just can't show it because he's under contract and he can't show his photos.
No, really, you can't show. I love Nigel's photos.
Exactly. But then he can't post it because you're under contract, no, Nigel, more or less.
Yeah,
But
there's a confidentiality on
but there's
95% of
some
them.
they have actually seen it. They just don't know you shot it. I'm pretty sure a few of the pictures, I know where they are and I know people have seen it.
Yeah.
Fantastic work. You know, when it comes to blending of colors, clothes, colors, that's where a good stylist comes in and understands the product that they are trying to sell. When you're shooting a person, you're still shooting a product, quote unquote. Correct? You're still shooting something. Like Raymond, when you shoot celebrities, are you shooting? How do you shoot them? Are you shooting the celebrity or the product, or how do you marry both?
I shoot with my camera. No,
No,
but
but
that's no, seriously, but that's a very complicated question because uh you tend to you kind of tend to marry or compromise because you need to make the celebrity happy so they will come back to you because you want more jobs. But again, the client is paying for it, so you need to balance which ones you need to do. It's a very it takes years. So I will not blame the younger people if they don't understand, but it takes years of making mistakes, and I will admit that I made mistakes so many times before. It's only towards the latter part when I was, when because now I'm 40, so it's only now that I
what
realize
what
40,
what what
40,
What?
40
what?
40 plus of 16.
Okay.
I swear, Drac, can we
Okay,
go on now?
No,
just
so,
maybe
but yeah, that's why it's nice because it is very very important, I believe, for people to. I'm learning from that because I can't say that my images are properly styled or properly put together because sometimes the client wants it.
True.
Even if I believe that it doesn't match, if they want it, then I have no choice but to shoot it
Yeah,
because they are the ones paying you, so they're still correct. But then afterwards, you insert a bit of your own. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do that after we've gotten what the client wants.
that topic is a very long topic when I do lectures and workshops. If there's so many questions that the younger photographers say, who should I follow? Should I follow my passion? Should I follow my conscience? That the client's asking for the wrong thing, and then I always tell them, whoever pays the bill, let them be the winner, because there's no contest when it comes to that. However, what you tell them is this: you hire me because of my sensibilities. So you show them what they want first, and then Jiggie's right. Then you say, okay, are you happy? Because if you're happy, can I show you something else? That's when your personality, your sensibility comes. If they say no, I'm not interested, then you keep your mouth shut. Then maybe you can wait with something else or somebody else for that matter.
right,
So yeah,
especially with what we do, Raim. Sometimes, maybe you on some advertising work, but for us, in advertising, the communication and the message is crystal clear before even shooting. S- Probably eight. from briefing to conceptualization to everything. Everything should be perfect and clear before we shoot it.
A semblance of that into shooting so that whenever they create an image, they can actually say, hey, this image was well thought of.
You see, that's the problem. There's a new generation out there that's very controversial. Some clients think they're photographers, so they will think they know better. We've been in the business. We've racked up years. We've studied our craft. We try to hone their craft, but some because the internet has given a false sense of security to people, saying that, oh, I've seen that in the internet. That's easy. You can do it in Lightroom. You can do it in Photoshop. Maybe you should do it also, Raymond. I'm like, are you serious? You know, you're paying me for my expertise, and you're dictating. Kaya this type of stories, it's not gonna end. It's like another part of my segment, which is I always include this in my horror stories.
Okay, so let's.
My segment, I always include this in my horror stories. But that's
Okay,
another segment we won't be in.
so we gotta move on. We gotta move on. Are they? Wait, can I do a shout out
Yeah,
to one of my good friends, Steph Mercado de Konegswerter. Sorry, David, I still can't pronounce your
relate,
last.
related to Baronessa.
Yeah, so the only son. I shot their wedding. One of my very few client. One of my. I shot like 3 prenups for them. That's fantastic. Love shooting them. Okay, so yes, next segment. Yay! um, babe,
Oh, the gas chamber. Jiggy, what's this segment all about?
the gas chamber is basically gear acquisition syndrome. Most photographers suffer from this. You just want gear and gear and gear. So this is my way of doing a gear review. The new stuff that are sent to us that we're supposed to play around with and see how good they are. And Nige, before anything, I've been getting some complaints regarding our audio. We're losing
We
some
good.
audio.
We good.
Are we good now?
Yep.
Okay, we're good now. All
We
right.
good.
Because for a time we lost Raymond. Oh, look at that.
I am not. Don't laugh because you
Okay.
don't
All
see me.
right. So
Jiggy,
now,
this
yeah.
is your time.
All right. So now here I'm going to be discussing. Actually, this used to be my favorite go-to small light because it's small, but it's handy, it's portable, and it gives very good soft light. This is a Photix M180. But there are 2 new products that I've been wanting to test, which you probably see in the channel eventually. We have the big brother of the the Photix M180, which is the Photix M200R. The difference with this one is that it, wait, I have an open one here. The M200R compared to the M180. They're practically the same. They're the size of a phone, the iPhone Max. This one, though, is just single color, and this is RGB. That's the biggest difference. And also, they refined the design a bit more and fixed the switches. So I haven't really tested the light, but look at this, Raymond. Look at how soft the light is. Wait, it's not exposing for my face.
Not
But
exposing.
if you take a look at it, these types of light, even though they're small, which you guys have to help me explain because I don't understand. Oh, see, it changes color. It's got a full spectrum of color. This is one thing that I need help in explaining because I can't seem to figure it out. Continuous light has a different characteristic to that of strobe. Because with strobe, we're always talking about the smaller the light source, the harsher the light, correct?
Supposed
Number
to be.
one rule, right?
Yeah,
The
supposed
smaller
to be.
the light source in relation to the subject, the harsher the light. But these small LED lights give you relatively soft light. even though it's small. Why is that?
LED is a different light source. Flash
Different
is,
light source.
yeah, it's a different light source. Whereas you're talking about strobes, they're talking about bulbs
Yes.
that emit. So basically, the light source is already different. As it is, flashes emit a larger light source automatically. LEDs
More
are
intense.
more
More
intense.
intense.
LEDs
Yes.
are smaller bulbs, and that's why it's a little bit softer, no matter how close you bring it to your face.
Yes, exactly. No matter how small it is, it's still soft.
It's
So
a soft.
that's why I like this light, because it's just in the pocket of my assistant. So whenever we need to do, let's say, beauty light, what's our standard beauty light, Raymond? Like that, right? Your
Yeah.
clamp shaped beauty light, frontal light or side lighting, but you can have two of these and it becomes a beautiful beauty light already by itself, and you can control the power individually. So with ratios, this is 1:4, give or take.
Yep.
When you're talking about 100% power, you're talking about 25% power underneath, and it's going to give you very nice, beautiful lights. So I'll do a full review with the M200 soon, because I still haven't figured out how to play around with the different colors. Because again, I'm very boring when it comes to that. I'm a very boring photographer, classic in nature. So it's very difficult for me to understand how to use the color. So
Jigs,
maybe
I have a
one of the thoughts
question.
of, yes.
Because sorry to the audience, I
Oh,
shot the promo video of the younger
last,
brother, the
last
M180.
night, last, these things stay with us every time we travel, because it is also a power bank, which helps a lot. Okay, so go. Yes, your
Yeah.
question. You saw the
Um.
video.
Yeah, I shot the promo of the M180, the older brother, which is
Yes,
heavier, the or they're about the same.
the M180.
Really?
Yes. Surprisingly, the M180, or maybe because my right hand's stronger, let me see. They're about the same weight.
About the same weight, because I guess there are more bulbs on the new one, because it's
Yeah, no, but they're
multicolor.
separated more. They're separated more. If when you see the old M180, there are more light bulbs here as
Rames,
Oh,
I think
no,
we're losing Jiggy.
I know. So in the meantime, when Jiggy's not there yet, one of the factors that you have to consider with LEDs. Yeah, Jiggy, we lost you for a
We
Oh,
lost
while.
you,
there.
Jigs.
I'm back. I'm back.
Yep.
There.
So you were
So
saying,
look at it, Nige, if you could see it. The light pattern is different. But
Actually, we can't see
there
it.
is one thing. Oh, sorry,
Overexposed
but
na.
we'll post a picture. But the biggest difference, this one, the M180 and the M200, that I appreciate a lot, is, remember the M180, for you to turn it on, it takes a while. Hard
Yes.
press one
Yes.
button.
Right.
They finally decided to replace it with a switch. I actually asked the developer, I asked Photix on why they did it, why it takes so long for it to turn on. It's for accidental, so you don't turn it on when what's in your bag. Because if it's just one click, then
Right.
you could easily hit it and it's gonna turn on. That's
So
why.
it's like a
But
switch button now.
yes, so now the M200 has a switch, a physical switch, so it's easier. And it's separate from all the other controls. Plus, this one goes all the way down to 1%. 1% power, as compared to the
Yes.
M180, it goes to 5%.
Yes.
Now, why is that important? Because our beautiful Sony cameras can see in the dark, right? ISO 6400, 12,800, no problem for us shooting. So if I pop a flash, it's gonna overexpose no matter how weak my flash is. That's why these LED lights are always good to have, because at 1%, you can now illuminate the face to take away the shadows and control your ambient light. Okay?
correct.
Right.
So
Right.
but that's not it. There's more.
But wait, there's more. If you just
M200,
two now,
this one I haven't even opened.
oh my,
This is the brand new non-light Pavo Tube 6C. It's basically the same as this with a different form factor. So let's open it. I haven't opened it, and I want to see what's inside. Oh, nice. So it's this small. This is about 8 inches probably. Do I have a ruler here? But it's small, though a lot bigger than the M200. So you could see the difference.
looks like an umbrella.
Well, yeah, it comes in a case that looks, yeah, there. It's like this. Oh, nice. All right. So striking differences is the shape of the light. So it really depends on what you want more. And it seems that this Pavo light has better diffusion because I can't see the LED. So it might give softer light. So technically, they're both the same. Power-wise, I don't know. They both have built-in batteries. So let's turn it on. Oh, very nice. So let's see how to turn it on. It's a long press. Wait, why I want to turn
Baka
there?
lobat. Ayun.
Long press. Oh, there. So LED in the back's practically the same as this one.
Favor Jigs, can you put it near the camera? I just want to see the rear part. Come on, autofocus.
Not focusing. There.
What are the buttons?
It's basically to make it stronger and weaker and to switch modes because this is also an RGB light.
Ah, okay.
And I think there's
Lightsaber
one
Rames.
beautiful.
I know.
There's one beautiful.
Can you
See,
use
you
that as
guys
a
have to
toy?
teach me how to use this RGB lights properly because one of the concepts I was thinking of is taking one of the cars out that has no tint and just putting in different
Yeah.
colored lights coming in, and I'll put Coco inside, so it's like she's driving by a neon
Yeah.
light. Yeah.
Jigs, just give it to Raymond. It's bagay on his background.
There is one good feature about this Pavo tube that's very interesting. It has magnets built in, so you could stick it on metal surfaces, so that if you don't have a light stand, and this one has more accessories. I think it comes with, you could have barn doors for it. Plus, they developed, which is something I'm very excited for. They also developed an underwater casing for this. So we can now shoot underwater with a continuous light. So it depends. We'll see how strong. I'll do an in-depth review when it comes to these things, and they're both priced relatively the same. I think this one's 7,000 and this one is 6,000. The nan light is cheaper. They also have the longer versions of this one. So, and I think this one also comes with an app that's going to follow soon that you can control everything with your phone. So this has still been my favorite light, but we will see how this one, because look at it's very interesting. Wait, let me switch to, okay. Look at how soft the light is. But you can't see it, it's overexposing.
overexposed, yeah.
It's surprisingly very soft. And guys, just go to my YouTube channel. I'm going to put a review. I'm going to shoot with this, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun shooting with both lights. All right, so that's my segment. I would try to always talk about gear in this segment, the new stuff that are sent to us that we want to play around with. And I'm not a technical person as much as you guys would think. I don't do technical reviews. I'd rather just use it and see how it turns out or how I can use it. That's why I was asking these guys how I can use the RGB and all the other features of this.
You know,
I think
Jigs,
Night for you would enjoy this. Look at this. Look, it's got
That's Raymond.
It's got multiple effects. So for video, you could do the stroboscopic already.
Yeah.
There, look at that. It's like TV.
Yeah.
It was like that, right?
Jigs, you know the best part of this segment is that our sponsors can actually send 3.
Yeah, they can actually.
You will have a live
Or
different
six.
opinions.
We can actually talk about our experiences and shooting and showing output. That should be interesting.
Or actually, for the sponsors, you can send 4. Each of us will do a review and then we'll raffle out 1.
Yes.
Oh, we can.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? Maybe in the next one, I could raffle out an M180.
You know?
I still have one here that's inbox sealed. Color pink.
Nice. Very nice, Jig.
What Raymond's face. You want it, but you don't need it. All right. So
on the next episode, in which we
for
don't
the
know
next
yet.
episode, we'll do something. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's talking about gear. It might be boring, but maybe the next episode we'll talk about lenses. So,
Yes, let's see.
All
Let's
three
see.
of us
Yeah,
will
let's see.
probably talk about lenses.
Okay.
But very excited to use this product. Thank you very much, Photix, and thank you very much, MQ Christian Ong, for sending this over for us to test. All right, next.
Okay. Okay, guys. I wouldn't actually want to spend a lot of time because our audience, it's already 10 o'clock. On our
Oh,
original conversation, I know we talked about doing 3 photo reviews. You still want to do a photo review, or you want to move on to
you
the
know
most
what?
exciting part of this
Let's
episode?
move on to Raymond's first, and then we'll
Oh,
just fix our time. Or you want to do one last photo review?
you know
Guys,
what?
what do
I
you think?
think
Should we do
Raymond.
one last
why
photo
don't you
review?
skip me? No, why don't you skip me and do the photo review because
No,
it's
no, no,
actually
no, no.
No, no, no,
for the
Raymond.
audience. For the audience.
No,
No,
no, no, no.
actually, they're saying if you're reading the comments, we want to hear Raymond's horror stories.
It's
I,
Raymond
I'm
or
reading
nothing.
Yeah,
there's another
and that's from
comment here.
Pearl. Huh? Pearl said it's Raymond or
It's
nothing.
Raymond or
Don't
nothing.
lie to the audience.
Okay, you want to do Raymond's segment, Jigs?
Let's do Raymond segment. Let's
Fine,
go to Raymond
fine,
segment.
fine, fine. Let's go. I'll make it short and fast so we can do another last review. Let's do it fast and short. Go.
Okay, this next episode is gonna. Sorry, the next segment is gonna be called Horror Stories. Oh, okay, let's see this.
No, I'll make it fast. So black and white talaga. No? Horror stories. The stories that I will tell you here have been posted in my Facebook account. And I always tell stories of people that I've worked with, whether there be celebrities, actresses, actors, producers, or clients. And this is one story I want to share with you. I have a shoot one time in a catalog with a catalog, and then the theme of the catalog is back to school. So I go into the studio, and then the client says, "Oh, it's back to school. So what's the direction of the shoot?" The shoot is very simple. The shoot is about kids going back to college. They're back to college, backpacks. Oh, very simple. So what kind of makeup? Oh, simple makeup, nothing much. What kind of props? None. Let's make it white. So basically, it's supposed to be a very easy breeze to shoot. However, here's the thing. I've noticed I'm shooting to one male and female, so it's a college student, one male and female. When the girl entered, the makeup it started off as very nice. But I noticed, you know what they call dewy look when it looks wet, just a bit on the makeup. The makeup artist started putting something there. I said, you know what? Okay, I'll go with that because it looks natural. It looks like it's the natural skin sweating. Then the guy enters. The guy looks normal, almost no makeup look. And then, we go to different clothes. As we go, we progress today. I've noticed the makeup gets heavier and heavier. And we haven't changed the concept. It's still back to school. At the end of the day, the guy had more makeup than the girl. The guy even looked like he was plastered in plastic that looks like a glossy finish of a Barbie doll instead of a real person. So in Tagalog, I was pissed. I was basically, it's better to say it in English. It's actually more respectful. I was pissed, and I had to confront the client. I said, "Are you letting this happen? Because I don't understand. We're doing back to school, and kids who go back to college are natural." And then that's the only time the client noticed that was happening. So we let it go, and then finally I confronted the makeup artist, and the makeup artist said, "You know what? I'm not getting paid as what I'm supposed to get paid for this catalog. So what I'm doing is what we call the gram. Photographers, listen. What is the gram? The gram is this. When they feel that they are not paid, whether they're stylists, photographers, or makeup artists, hairstylists, they feel they're not paid properly. The gram means they want to make materials for their Instagram. So they never follow the flow of the client. They never follow the flow of the concept. That way, they can always make materials. They become selfish, and these are the things they post every time. You cannot do that because if you want to be a respected photographer, at the end of the day, number one, you stick to your concept, you stick to your client, and you do not become selfish. Do not take the job because you feel you can get grams from it. You take the job because you will get merit from the job, not grams or not content. That is one of the horror stories I want to tell you today.
Ganda. I love it.
Oh, okay, but
Love it. I love it. I learned something from that,
can I
especially how
go
to do this.
Can I go back to color now? Because I feel that I'm sad. Go.
Rames, you do the button. You do the button.
The what?
You do
Do
the
this,
knob.
do this. Turn yourself into color. There you go.
Oh.
Oh, oh, too much, too much. Bring it back, bring it back. Bring it
This
back.
is
Too
going
much,
too
too much,
much, too much.
too much. Bring it back. There we go. Perfect. You know, Nige,
Where?
here's the thing.
Where?
People are actually messaging me that they can't comment because
Yeah.
they're not connected or something. These technical stuff we will be fixing, but they seem to love the banter when it comes to um, the photographs. So my question is, do you want to take out the last part, which is the one that might get us into trouble, and just do one more photo? Or
I'm
do we
okay.
go to that last part?
I'm okay. Again, I would just like to remind everyone, if you want your comments to be included in our broadcast, on my post just above, just click that link and click accept. It's beyond our control with the boys, meaning the tech team. It's Facebook's privacy.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. We're gonna figure this out. If you guys like it, maybe you could comment after, correct?
Yeah, they can. They can.
Then comment after if you like this, and make sure to tag just so that they know that we're doing a good job and they could sponsor us afterwards.
Yeah.
Did I
Ian
just
says, yeah, no, Raymond, Kuela is the right term.
There we go. See, at least Ian. So let's go. Let's do one quick
let's do last? We
last
don't
photo
wanna keep
review, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do one last
Oh
photo review.
shit! It's gonna be me. Oh.
Yeah, it's you.
you. Yeah,
Nice.
right.
Okay,
Nice.
let's photo review.
Oh, whoa, that's perfect for Raymond's horror stories.
Okay, I'm gonna start. First, color wise, I like the complementary, mean red and blue. So the subject popped out, but uh, I guess it's the message again. Probably it's the message that the photographer wants to tell me as an audience. Remember, a lot of people have already said that photographs or pictures speaks 1,000 words. So my only comment here is, okay, good complementary use of colors, but again, the message is unclear. And Jigs, I only have actually two questions. These are submissions from workshops from home, right? So,
Yes.
did you have a theme for this one, like
No.
portrait
Just
or something?
portraits.
And
Just portraits.
majority of the photographs are sent on a portrait mode. So,
No, see,
teka
that's why
lang,
it's
mukhang inano mo na
vertical.
to ah.
Vertical really is the way to go.
Mukhang inano na to. But that's just maybe my question. I see a little bit of distortion on the eyes. Probably a little bit wider lens was used to this one, tapos nilapit na lang niya. So I like the complementary of colors, but again, I don't really get the message. That's just it.
Okay.
Next is Jiggy.
All right.
Yay! Buti na
Yeah,
lang
and
hindi
I was finally able to see the image properly because while you were talking, I looked at it closely. Number one, if the fingers, they're sticking out, it has no point, and you never cut at the joints. That's a major rule. Never cut at the joints because it just looks weird. It doesn't that doesn't add to the story. Though you're right about the complementary colors, Nige. I do like them a lot. I do potentially like the concept. However, this is a concept that I believe would I don't know if it's the fault of the subject or the photographer to not bring it out from the subject. Because if it's supposed to be scary, he's not supposed to look as if he was begging for something. Because look at his lips. They're not scary enough. They're not strong enough. It's like he's sad. And then my problem is the eyes. You mentioned it already, Nige, but I believe the eyes. I personally don't like seeing too much of the whites because then you don't get, it really looks, well, it might fit this image because it looks very horrific, but you're supposed to get the emotion from the eyes. When you can't see the eyes, you can't really see that emotion or feel that emotion. So yeah, oh, perfect. That was a minute and a half. All right, Raymond, you're next.
Oh, now it's my turn. You know what? Of all the three, I actually like this one, but I don't see a photograph. I actually see a work of graphic design and manipulation. I mean, that's my point of view. It's a beautiful concept for me. I love the idea that composition-wise, I get the lines contradicting, framing the subject here and there. I am iffy about the hands. It's there, but it can be there, it cannot be there. It doesn't help me make the picture better, but I don't mind it being there. I agree with the too much white. If there's a distraction, it makes me forget about the emotion. But overall, I feel that this can be like a poster for a movie or a book for that matter. So I don't know. There are so many gray lines now about what photographs should be because of digital photography. There are over edited pictures. This is one of those, but it doesn't hurt. I love the way it was edited because there are times when over edited pictures disturb me. This one doesn't disturb me. If I would do and interpret this, I would put more texture and overlay to make it more look like an illustration or a canvas or watercolor because you're going that direction anyway. So it's not real, it's surreal. So I would go push it further. Yeah, I
Perfect.
think
1 minute and a half.
Yep. I
Guys,
guess.
do you think this is makeup or digital?
I think this is
I
real
think
makeup jigs because you can see on near the fingers, you still have tints of red, probably taken on one of India's holy festivals.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay. So you think this might not have been a planned shoot, but rather just a casual portrait in the street?
it's a planned casual portrait in the street. I mean, these people are just there enjoying the festival, and probably the photographer said, "Okay,
Okay.
can I take you a
how,
portrait?" And okay,
how do you know the
Props
pictures?
go to the makeup.
no, that's part of the festival.
No, how do you know it's in India? Where was there any? I don't know because I can't place a cultural character to this.
Yeah, hold on. I think the photographer is watching us. At I don't know if uh, Topi, is this your photograph? If this is your photograph, can you probably you can tell us on a comment what's your thought process and how did you came up with this picture? Just oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
I was right. I was right, guys. It's actually Holi. It's in India.
There we go. There we go.
Now
That's
now we
why.
see. Yeah,
That's why. So, yeah, it's a good play. It's we all agree composition wise, it's like 90% there, but the hand really is an issue. You could have kept it or you could have removed it. The color contrast was good, but then since if this was from that festival and you shot him or her, him siguro, you shot him, you must have talked to him. If you talk to him for you to be able to compose that, you might have been better to get more emotion from your subject or talk to them more. Excuse me, it just takes a few seconds to bring it out. But overall I think it's a very good image. It's a decent image, though little things that we just needs to fix.
Rames.
Me,
Okay.
I'm jealous. I like the picture. I
Yeah,
I
it's nice.
wish I would say I wish I could have done that picture. Thank you.
Yeah,
Actually,
right. Okay,
Jigs,
let's stop it there.
you have a very good point about talking. I think this is one of the best techniques of Manny Librodo, who's also a Sony professional. So he talks to his subjects more than he takes the photograph, so that
Which should be, yeah,
he
which
can
should be,
establish.
yes, exactly. Which should be the case all the time because one of my pet peeves, honestly, Nige, can you put me on a big screen?
Aba, may
I'll
request ka
demonstrate
pa,
it.
ha?
I'll demonstrate it. I'll demonstrate it. Okay, this is your camera. one of my pet peeves.
Rames, ikaw,
It's
what's
one
yours?
of my pet peeves. I really, it irks me every time I see it. It's like, mm, you parang,
Okay.
you could do it with more respect. You could talk to them. Excuse me, can we do this? Hi, can I take your picture? Is it all right if I take your picture? Okay, if I'm gonna take your picture, do you mind doing this? Talk to them. Okay, I'm gonna take one more shot. Okay, when I'm gonna take your shot, chin down,
Wait,
and
Jigs,
not
Jigs.
raise a finger.
I think this is Raymond's number one expertise. Why people get Raymond Isaac. Rames,
Okay, go,
take
go,
it
go,
away.
Raymond, go, go. Teach
No,
us.
I don't
Wait,
want to be
wait,
caught.
change it.
Is this
Nige,
a
she's
horror
still,
story? Is this a horror story?
Nige, she's still blotchy.
Rames, you want to
No,
fix
because
yourself?
me, I don't care. You know, you know what happens is joke. And no, you know what? There's so many stories that go into my head when Jiggy was doing this, doing that, because I know a number of photographers who would instruct their models like this.
Yes, right? You.
And and there are people who would do this.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, all right, no offense, kung if you
No
know who you are,
offense,
no
sorry,
offense.
no offense. But
But the truth is this: if you want to shoot models, or if you want to shoot, this is not has nothing to do with the picture. I love the picture. In general, if you want to start shooting models or people photography for that matter, there is another aspect of photography which you need to learn. This is not about technical. This is about communication. Communication
yep,
is one of the hardest aspects of people photography. It's because it's not about perfect lighting. It's about capturing the moment at the right time. You may have the perfect light. You may have the perfect makeup. You may have the perfect model. But if you don't know how to communicate with your model to get that exact moment, to capture that moment when sex is exuded, loneliness is there, mystery is being, is being illustrated. These are the things you need to learn. It doesn't happen overnight. So people think that, oh, I'm a good photographer because I have good photographs. No, it needs practice. It needs years. So at the end of the day, if you don't have the patience and you want to start shooting models and you want to shoot portraits or weddings for that matter, then I would advise not to go into that if you do not have the patience to learn and make mistakes.
okay. And then can I
I
add
think
to that? Can I add to that? I think that was very serious. This is actually very serious. If they are to practice, the hardest people to shoot are your loved ones, right? Because your loved ones will never listen to you, or they
or
would,
biases.
yes, or they'd always have comments. They'd always do, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah," you know how it is. But if you get to master and make your loved ones trust you, that means your communication skill is getting better. If you can't talk to your loved ones, then how can you talk to other people? So you practice on your loved ones. You make them feel comfortable in front of the camera. Learn how to talk to them. Learn how to get that emotion. And how far do you really need to go to practice, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, well, that's how I started. I shot my wife like crazy when I was starting, and I remember that story that every time the picture turned out bad, it was her fault, not mine.
Yeah. Actually, I would
So,
just like this to point out because you made very good points on those. I would just like to tell about communicating your intention
yes,
again. If you
yes,
want your model to do a particular pose or a particular movement, you do it. You show it to her. If you want her hands to be placed here or here, you do it. It's easier. Rather than sabi nga ni Raymond making nguso or
yes.
ganun mo, ganun mo, ganun mo, ganun mo. You did the
But
mirror and
remember,
technique. I think this is the mirror and technique, right,
yes,
Rames?
which
Correct.
is what they have to understand, Nigel, the mirror. Meaning, if you want them to raise their right hand, you
You
raise your
raise
left.
your left hand.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
or not, they're gonna follow exactly what hand you're gonna raise, and it's gonna be the
Exactly.
total opposite of what you want. So it's always models right or left. So
Yep.
if you're gonna say, please raise your left hand, don't. If you're not gonna mirror it, just make sure that if you're gonna raise your left hand, you raise your right,
Yep.
so that they will raise their
Or tell
left.
them, okay, left shoulder towards the camera.
Yes.
Or Rames,
If
what's your technique on this?
Which one?
about this one, this kind of
Mirroring.
posing, mirroring, or what do you do?
The truth. One of my secrets in the studio is I do have a mirror behind me,
So they can see.
so they can see.
The
But
So
mirroring
that's,
technique.
yeah, no, literally
so,
mirroring technique. Yes.
so they can see. Number one. Number two. Before the person goes in front of the camera, I already tell them the story of how the mood should be. So, for example, if Jiggy goes there, Jiggy, I want you to be a gangster in the 1950s. I want the tough, fedora, but shadows in your face, but a little bit of your chin and your lips coming out. Then you build up that emotion. So by the time the model goes in, and then I have music to supplement that,
Yes.
Yeah.
I create an atmosphere. So by the time they get there, they sometimes they go overboard, which is good because it's easier to edit out rather than trying to bring out an emotion from a person.
But that's
So
given, Raymond, that these people you're working with are professionals.
no, no, no. In fact, the surprisingly, it actually works for people if you set the whole thing up. Setting up an
Okay.
atmosphere helps when you shoot people. For example, I don't know the two of you, and I want you to be comfortable when you enter the studio. The first thing I would do is actually Google you. So
Yes, research about
I
the
would,
person.
I
Yes.
would like to see what you're interested in, what you want to eat, what do you keep on posting. So when you enter, for example, Jiggy likes coffee, so I will make sure there's coffee brewing. So when you enter, oh my God, smells like coffee. Then it sets that mood that I'm relaxed. I like this. I trust this guy.
Okay.
There's some people who like their bathrooms or toilets smelling like a hotel. So I do that. I do these weird things to set people up. So I do create an atmosphere or a situation where they become open to
Fantastic.
suggestions, and it actually helps.
Fantastic.
I am one of those photographers that I don't hide this. I'm one of those photographers who have a vast collection of people that I have taken naked. People who normally won't take their clothes off in front of the camera because they tend to fall into that space of trust. But it's a very dangerous thing to do. But then again, it takes years. It takes years
Yeah, but
to
that's not teach us here. That
I
does not
will
teach that
not
here.
teach you that. Yeah, but
No, but when you shed some light into that, Raymond, that's actually perfect because I realized now, thinking back while you were talking,
uh,
if the studio when they enter and I don't have my lights on, it automatically dictates the mood of the model and the shoot. As
right.
compared to having it really bright and having some really festive music playing, it makes the entire mood better. Plus the shoot that makes it better.
Makes people
It's just
happy.
in hindsight that I'm thinking about it because I remember there's one shoot that's complaining about the subject because she wasn't giving me what I needed. Then I realized I might have actually set the wrong mood for her.
Correct. Could be, could be.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
And
Okay,
actually,
I'll
Jigs,
take note
just
of
like
that.
to
Yes.
add before we move on is, again, establish your intention.
Yes.
Establish what do you want from start to end. How far are you willing to go on this particular campaign? And when the shoot actually comes, we have a standard called printed mood board. So the talent, the artist can see what's the mood of the shoot. And then Raymond made a good point. Music really helps.
Yeah. Okay. I get it.
But
Yeah.
guys,
Very nice point.
moving on. Any more
Moving on. Moving on. So I hope everybody
any more
enjoyed.
comments on the photo of Topi Comeso?
I was gonna say something about music you were saying. If you guys are curious what kind of music I play when I have shoots for fashion and beauty and portrait, follow me at Spotify. I
Oh.
do have a category of studio happiness, studio sexy, all these things. I have this whole playlist.
I
So
was
please follow Spotify, Raymond Isaac. Yes, followers.
I would actually I would I would because my sense of my music I have literally no musical bone in my body. Literally.
Actually,
I
Raymond
do,
made a good point. Remember, just a little kwento to our audience. This morning we were doing the pre-prod meeting and then said, Nigel, ilang taon ka na? Okay, I said,
Oh yeah, yeah,
18.
yeah.
No, just
yeah.
joking. Okay, you're a 90s kid. And then he starts playing music and is laughing really
Yeah.
hard. Like, Rames, it's still in my head.
But
It's
did you
fun. It's
enjoy?
fun. Fantastic.
The first,
Fantastic.
you still remember the first song that you played?
Yeah, I know.
It's still in my head. I actually sent
Okay,
my
so moving
girlfriend.
on.
I actually sent my girlfriend. Love, look at Tito Raymond's music. Like, But I really like it. I really like it. Okay, guys, follow Tita Raymond on Spotify. Actually, I'm gonna do it now after this broadcast.
Yeah, I will actually. But the problem is, babe, do we still have Spotify?
I also have.
No, you know why? Ganto ako ganto ako. This is how bad I am when it comes to music. I subscribe to Apple Music, not Spotify, only because I can tell Siri to play whatever the best hits of the 90s were. Instead, so I can go, hey Siri, play the best hits of the 90s, and it's just gonna play it in the car because I have no idea whatever music there is. That's anyway.
Rames is still in my head right now. Rames, Rames, you gotta.
Okay,
Wait,
so we go to our last part.
Yeah, actually, the last part is just parting words, guys. We've been talking a lot.
Wait, no, wait. We're not gonna do the chismisan or the fresh.
No,
I don't
Jigs.
know.
No, there's a launch tomorrow, man. I'm gonna wait for the launch.
Okay.
Alright.
So anyway, we'll just say it in passing. We wanted to discuss a rumor that we heard,
Oy,
but
imumute kita. I'm gonna
no.
mute you.
But since the launch is tomorrow, just wait for it because I think it is gonna be a game changer. It's gonna be at 10 o'clock Philippine time, correct?
How
Is it
will
at
we
10
see-
o'clock Philippine time?
No. It's 10 o'clock UK time, so it's probably gonna be 9 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not
9
mistaken.
p.m. 9 p.m. here.
Yeah,
10
if I'm not
o'clock,
mistaken.
10 a.m.
If I'm not
Okay.
mistaken,
So,
the
guys,
best
wait for
thing they
it.
can do is go to the Sony Philippines Facebook page. It's announced there. It's gonna be
Okay.
It's fantastic. It's gonna be.
Jiggy said it's gonna be a great camera.
Yeah, I feel that it's gonna be a great camera. I think I might want one. Wait, Raymond, I think you might need one too.
No, I don't need one. I need two.
Actually, we need 4. We're gonna raffle off 1.
Or maybe we could do a review in the next episode if we're able to do another episode.
No,
Yeah.
let's be positive. Let's be positive. We repost what we have right now, and I'm sure people would want their pictures to be critiqued, and they want to know the chismis, what we're doing, behind the scene. And
Yeah.
you know what? It's a good combination. You guys, we have three different points of view. It works. People will be interested.
Yeah, Jigs.
So,
Yo,
Parting words, man.
So-
This is your
Oh.
your thing.
well, I hope you guys enjoyed whatever it is that we tried to do here. And as we said at the very beginning, we don't know when we're going to be broadcasting again. So you could just PM. We'll put it in the comment section on who you can PM if you really want this to happen again. And please follow me on Instagram. I need Instagram followers. It's at G.A.S. Alejandrino. And if you want to see more of my technical reviews or the way I shoot, you could follow me also or subscribe to me on YouTube. It's also Jiggie Alejandrino. Okay, and this was really a lot of fun. I really loved it's not even banter. It's more about sharing of knowledge, I think. And I hope the people that were watching this didn't take any offense in what we were doing and enjoyed and took everything with a grain of salt. And thank you very much, Nigel, for making this happen. If you guys are wondering what platform we're using, this is something that Nigel himself developed with his team of coders. That's why we're still working out a little bit of kinks. I'm pretty sure Nigel will figure it out in the next episode. Okay, thanks, guys.
Rames.
yes, I will not think the way these two people are thinking with me. I will tell you this. I will wait for the second episode in June because I know deep in my heart, and I know I'm a sidekick, that we will have a second episode in June, whether they like it or not. So if they don't want to join me, I'll be here for you guys to continue the nightcap.
Okay, I'm gonna say this parting words on behalf of these two beautiful people right here. Jigs, now I understand why people cannot comment. We are broadcasting exclusively on the group of Nico, which is the
Okay.
Filipino workspace. So
Okay.
this is a private group. I understand. I see some comments that I have to register to the group in order for me to comment. So
Okay.
hopefully in the future we'll do this on a public page. So this is a very special episode only for the
Which
Filipino
public page?
photographers share space. So thank you guys for joining us on this Monday holiday evening. Oh, I can't believe we spent an hour and 45, guys. So
Whew, it was supposed to be an